Hello, and again, welcome to Bit Depth. I'm Santiago Ramones. Across from me is...
Stephanie, and my last name is Peñate.
In case you were wondering how to pronounce that.
Yes, or I have this thing where I shouldn't do this, but I like whitewash it. I'm like, Peñate's fine, but like it's actually Peñate.
Yeah, well, I mean, you hear me pronouncing my name Santiago Ramones whenever I should
Ramones.
be saying Santiago Ramones. But like, it's weird to just flip into an accent in the middle of a sentence.
Right, yeah.
So
I'm glad you get that struggle.
Yeah.
I think about that like every time I say my name. I'm like, do I want to do it? Will they think I'm weird? I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah,
so
it's like, well, my middle, I'm really weird about my middle name. Will not tell anyone, but this is going on air and the internet for the public to hear. But my middle name is so brown. It's Guadalupe.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to be like, my name is Stephanie Guadalupe Peñate.
Yeah.
I'm just like, just call me Stephanie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my full name is Santiago Andrés Ramones Machado. Which is...
We got the brown.
Really freaking brown.
Yeah, it's so brown. I love that. Who named you? Like, you choose your names.
My dad?
Right on Santiago's dad. That's so funny.
Well, I think also, I don't know who chose my middle name. But
gotcha, yeah.
I know.
Well, I also have like Herrera in my name, and like saying that in English hurts, but then like saying it in Spanish, I'm also like Herrera, you know?
Yeah.
It's like Herrera. So, fellow brown people together one podcast. I love it's going to be great. We're going to code switch. You speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Because I don't like to assume that all Latinos speak Spanish.
What do you do?
I am a music student at production, that is, at the Academy of Contemporary Music, which is where we met.
Mm-hmm.
I play synth and keyboard in a band called Dire Gnome. Mm-hmm. We are on Spotify. And I work a lot.
Yeah. And you also started your own podcast.
Right. You caught me that time, too. Yeah, I started my own podcast. It's called Color Me In, which is after a broadcast song. I don't know if you listen to broadcasts. You should. Everyone should. Sure. They're great. Do you know Stereolab?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man. They're like French disco. Well, I don't even know if they're disco. They're like French electronic music. They're really good. So broadcast is like the equivalent, but I think they're British or English.
Cool.
Of that sort. And yeah, it's just a good song. And I felt it reflected what I wanted to do with the podcast.
Yeah. What is the podcast?
Right. Which we're going to have Santiago on next. I'm excited. It'll be, so basically I just bring in, I misspoke on my first episode, which is so classic Stephanie, because I got so nervous. And I said I'll bring in artists. I'm just bringing in people I think are awesome.
Yeah.
And they're going to talk about 10 pieces of art that have impacted them in whatever way that means. And I give 10 as like a reference number.
Yeah.
If you are heavily involved in the arts, like, I mean, we're music students.
Yeah.
So 10 doesn't seem like enough. Campbell broke the rule on the first episode.
So yeah.
If you want like 20, that's fine. 30 might be pushing it just because we have like 3-hour slots.
Yeah.
But if I gave that number because if you aren't a musician or like that involved in arts, but still like I know that you are, I think 10 might be a lot. So it's just a reference number.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I saw the idea of like, because this podcast is such a comfort thing for me, like hearing people I think are awesome talk deeper and getting to know them better is great. And then I felt like, oh, I could do the same, but in a different capacity.
Yeah. And I really like that.
Yeah, thanks, Santiago. That means a lot coming from you, my fellow brown friend. Take a shot every time I say brown or brown friend in this. Gosh.
How did you get started in music?
So my brother picked up like any kid, you know. He found rock and roll, specifically like the Ramones and stuff like that. And he wanted to play guitar because of that, because, you know, guitar. And then my little brother, well, he's taller than me now. My younger brother is, you know, like any younger brother is like, I want to be as cool as my older brother. Yeah. So he picked up drums. And then I was like, there's nothing else to play because, like, what is bass guitar? Yeah. And I chose piano. And I started lessons from age 8. And so, like, on and off until now. But yeah.
What did you do in those first lessons? I never got to take, like, piano lessons as a kid. Right. So, like, what is teaching an 8-year-old piano?
I don't remember is the thing. So I remember crying because I got frustrated that my teacher was like, you can't have long nails. And, like, I was the only I don't really identify as female anymore, but like I socialized and thought of as female growing up. So that's a new thing. Hi. First time talking about it. Weird. But so like my mom was like always like the typical like you only girl, you want to spoil her with like dresses and stuff like that. So like she would like paint my nails and stuff. So that was like a big deal for me to not do that. But then I'm like, you should see my nails now. I'm like, I don't care. So I was like, I remember being frustrated on that. Like it was like 2 months of just like cut your nails. And a lot of it, I still have the books too. Like the first books I learned out of. A lot of it is just like learning Twinkle Twinkle. And so my teacher teaches Suzuki, and I've kind of like substitute taught. It wasn't really like substitute taught, but like I would like jump in sometimes and like watch the kiddos or like help the kiddos out when she would get lessons. And a lot of it really, I didn't do Suzuki, but like there's like overlap of not doing Suzuki and doing Suzuki. And it's just like you do a lot of like, I remember the first exercise is like you use your knuckles and you just roll them on the black keys. I don't know why. That's the only thing I remember, but it's a lot of that. And then like playing back specifically with Suzuki, but also just like most method books. Yeah, and then like Twinkle Twinkle, and then teaching the staff, and then the concept of notes, and then concept of rhythm, which is like so weird to talk about now because I was like, oh yeah, it's second nature. Like I still suck at it, but it's like second nature. But yeah, that's really all I remember. I just remember like that. I remember playing William Tell, and that was like a huge milestone for me for some reason because it was like a new upper level in a book or something. And then eventually you start playing like pieces that are like way too long. That doesn't answer your question or give you insight, but if you want your child to learn, I really only knew Suzuki because I worked at the studio as I got older that I learned from. It's like a lot of just like teaching the methods of like rhythm, like I said, and everything, and then just copying what the teacher is doing. So it's a pro of Suzuki is you develop a good ear. But the con is most kids, unless told or heavily like practiced with, will not use sheet music for that reason and will just rely on ear. But yeah, I was a really good kid and patient kid growing up, and I could sit for hours and like do things. I've definitely taught students not like that. So it is hard in that aspect, is that getting an 8-year-old's brain for 30 minutes even is hard to like focus and like do what you want them to. But yeah, I think I'm just wired that way to be able to do stuff like that and just like sit. And I really wanted to do piano growing up. So I was like, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to do it and it's going to be good. It was not good. Still not good. But, you do it.
And then, yes, unfortunately having to rehash the conversation that already happened.
No worries.
Inside notes on this very podcast. We recorded for like 30 minutes. And then I realized it wasn't recording.
It's okay,
so we're doing this again.
I love talking to Santiago. So I actually I was going to make a joke about it. Never mind. I was going to say I pushed pause so just we can talk. And then elongate the session. I'm joking, of course.
So classical versus contemporary.
Yeah.
You moved from classical world into contemporary world. What's the difference?
Oh, man. Culturally, I definitely prefer contemporary. There's also more gigs.
Yeah.
I transitioned from like classical, like I was playing Bach, I was playing Debussy, all that stuff, and then I was unhappy with it just because I grew up listening to like most people grew up listening to some form of pop music, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to get there until I moved to I came to ACM. But it was just like that. It just wasn't fulfilling for me to like sit down and play music from like white dudes, So I switched to contemporary and then jazz. If you've got a jazz background on piano, you can play anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll do jazz, and then I was like, oh, that's gonna take years, and it's still taking me forever, and it's hard, and there's so much technicality and like practice too. I would argue that practice is even harder for contemporary because, especially jazz, because as a jazz pianist, you're expected to play and just like play something that sounds good.
Yeah.
You have to memorize like techniques and like riffs and
chord changes
that sound good, cadences, all that stuff. Whereas like piano, you could play a piece for 6 months and then like that's what you would know for 6 months, and then you would keep up with it just to keep it in the back of your head, and then you learn more pieces. But yeah.
Not a question that I asked last time, but
changing it up.
What is a musical hurdle that you've gotten past and one that you're still working on now?
I don't know that I've gotten past any of my hurdles yet. But okay. We will probably sit on this one for a while. Because we spoke before this, that how like I didn't know that doing music as a career was an option just because of the economic status I had and the cultural assumption that music is only a hobby that I grew up with. And did you grow up with that as a brown kid?
Yes, but it kind of became more solid as I got older. But
like that you could do it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because my parents like worked 60-hour weeks for most of my life. So like it was you get an 8 to 5 and then you work overtime and then you go home to your kids, you know?
Yeah.
So that was like, oh, that's what life is. Music is just to like fill the air in while you're at home raising the kids or whatever. So with that, I harbored a lot of guilt when I decided to do music, and even more guilt when I said I don't want to teach music, I want to play music, which is like we all know that there's like $3 in that. So like that was, I think, just that guilt of like I'm doing this and I can do this, but like just having that voice of like you're doing something that your parents are like really hesitant. I'm hesitant. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It feels very like white kid kind of thing. And then, so that was something, I feel like I still fight that a lot, but it's gotten so much easier to be like, no, that's not true. I mean, I played gigs and I've been paid and I can teach kids. I can teach kids, and there's like more to music than just playing that I also enjoy. But that, and then like motivation / anxiety, it's just like something. If you've dealt with this, I would love to hear it if you have too. Because one of my favorite artists, Michael Cronin, who's like an LA-based musician who has played with Ty Segall and like that psych scene, has like a whole album about it. How like he got so anxious to fail, or like that people would be like, "See, I told you couldn't do it," or like there's a concept in psychology that I can't remember the name of, but it's like there's so many options that you get overwhelmed. So for me, all of that accumulated, and then I would just like not do it because I got so scared to do it, and which is like not the correct response. Don't do that. Please see a therapist on ways to like that work for you to fix that. So I feel like I still get that a lot. Like I will get so overwhelmed about something like that's I'm taking Patrick's film scoring class, which is like I've never done film scoring. Yeah, it sounds terrifying. I've done a little bit with him in like lessons and stuff, but like to actually like write a full score and like have people critique it, that sounds terrifying. So like entering college, I would have just like not done it and then cried and do it last minute and then be miserable. But like as I've gotten older, you realize that you just got to do it. And like it'll suck, absolutely. No one's born being able to like 100% do it that first time, but a lot of it's just like getting that muscle memory in and like, just doing it, and then you learn things along the way, and you'll write really awful things, but like you can just delete those or just keep them and never show them. So that's still something I work with, and it's like I've been in and out of therapy for years, and it's like something I've always had to like maintain, and it's like I've had like many therapists be like, you should communicate to your professors about that. And I'm like, let's just not. But yeah, anxiety's a bitch.
And then how did you decide that music is going to be my life?
Right on. I think I don't remember if I said this in this recording, but we'll just repeat. It's fine. I grew up not having many friends and not being able to relate to, like, I grew up in Norman, so it's like a white suburbia university town. Norman's really interesting in that you have, like, very poor and you also have, like, very affluent and, like, people are, like, super high up in university getting, like, a lot of money. So I had a mixture of that, and I'm very grateful for that upbringing. But it was more of, like, just, like, affluence, and I grew up very poor and very brown. So I didn't feel understood growing up, especially with school, and you're at school all day. And there's always music in the house going on, and, like, my parents have, like, this notion that, like, music is an escape, and, like, you know, that's perfectly healthy, and, like, you can dance to music, you can sing to music, do whatever you want. And so, like, that was my comfort for a really long time. And I eventually grew that into books and then movies and then comics and whatever.
Yeah.
And those became my friends. Those artists became my friends. And to me, it made sense to do music just because it was the only thing that made sense and made me happy. And there was hope, not apart from being, like, good at it and, like, creating my own stuff, that I would also find a community of like-minded people. And I've been fortunate that I found a couple of people like that. But it's I feel like it's one thing that is you'll always have to battle. Being a musician is, like, weeding out people who are doing it for the quote-unquote wrong reasons, or even people you just can't relate to, or, like, their music isn't something you can relate to.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
And then what is your goal as a musician for your career?
Right
or
on. I feel like most of us have this, like, dream of, like, being a touring band, and, like, I would love to do that. Like, on an indie scale, not, like, a huge giant
stadium.
Stadiums. No, I mean, like, if a option presents itself, I'm gonna of course, pay my bills, please. But, like, ideally it'd be, like, a small, like, indie band just touring with Dire Gnome would be great, because it's just, like, everyone in it is a great person, and people I can get behind and feel safe around.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, that would be great. I mean, I also grew up with punk, so that, like, you know, like, touring Black Flag level before they got, like, super big and stuff like that would be cool. But I'm mostly, so I just switched from performance to production this semester because I bought a synth. Thanks to that synth. And I discovered the world of synthesis in that, which, for those of you who don't know, is building synths, programming the sounds, or so, like, sound design, and then, like, actually, like, hands-on, like, building the equipment and fixing it and routing it. I really like that. And then analog circuitry is really related to that, which is, like, just, like, pedals and amps. I think amps, too. Lots of diagrams and numbers and details, and I love that stuff. I know. I love that stuff. So, like, that, all of that would be really cool, because I'm the type of person that, like, when I work on something, I'm 100%, like, on there. Like, you can't. Like, if you're like, Stephanie, I'm, like, zoning you out because I'm just so focused. But, like, analog circuitry and all that stuff would give me permission to kind of just, like, zone out while I'm doing something that's familiar and comfortable, and also creative and technical, which is, like, together that has always been a great merging point for me. And I feel like I strive the best there, because I don't feel creative and I don't feel technical. So I feel like I'm in the middle, which like, most people do, but, you know. Also, you can't see it, but I talk with my hands a lot.
That's
so
fine.
Santiago's probably just like, she talks with her hands a lot.
No, I mean, it's saving me a lot of hard drive space to not do video, so that's fine.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Shots fired.
No, I mean, I'm not a video
good.
person either. So.
Oh, no. I would, if you had asked me, would you want to be in my video? I'd have been like, I can't. Not video. Getting comfortable just hearing my voice back has been a process.
You get used to it.
Well, you're a singer. Yeah, you're a singer. I was talking to Saffron. She's like, you just get used to it. And I'm like, oh, man. Yeah. Oh, man.
What is Dire Gnome?
Oh, sweet. Yeah, awesome. Great question. Dire Gnome we are a 4-piece psych rock. I don't feel comfortable using the psych rock thing because we don't sound like Helen Kelter Skelter, which I would like define as like the epitome of like what psych rock is right now. But it's more, we're psych rock, more garage rock, I would argue. It's very, before I came in, they were just a 3-piece and they were very like, It reminded me a lot of like 90s kind of grunge in a way, almost like Melvin-y. And then I came in and brought in like all like the atmospheric stuff, so it turned more like into dream pop stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just like a 4-piece that plays around in the metro area. Nathan is our singer and guitar player, and you've probably seen Nathan at a show. He has one of those faces that you just see everywhere. But he plays guitar and he sings, and he brings in like the riffy death metal-y kind of aspects of it. And then Krish is his wife, who picked up bass in January of last year just for that band. And then Miles and Nathan played in like a metal band called Cobra Jab, which they're actually really good. You should listen to them. They're very like stoner metal, I would say. But they played in that band together, and then I found them through Facebook, and they were needing a synth player, and I was like, I have a synth. I can't use it, but I have a synth. So I joined them, and then that's what we're doing right now. Yeah. We're super inspired by like the psych rock, garage rock scene going on in the West, so California. That's like Ty Segall, OCs, Wand's my favorite band. So just stuff like that. Meat Bodies, yeah.
What makes music important?
Right on. What a question. I don't remember what I said the first time, but I think giving anything to people that make them feel like they have power, especially with our political climate now, and especially like if you're a quote-unquote minority, I think giving them any kind of thing that gives them power or purpose or creating anything is powerful, and music does all of that. Whereas like kicking a soccer ball was not fun for me growing up because I'm clumsy and I would just like fall and trip over the soccer ball. But I guess that's it. Is also a huge community boost in music and finding people who understand and can sit down with you and relate on a deeper level, I think is powerful.
Yeah.
And also, I love noise. I grew up with punk rock and like the Velvet Underground and like experimental noise. So I love that stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for making that segue much better for me, because my next question is, does genre still exist? Is it a necessary thing anymore now that we're just using too many words to describe genres?
Yeah. So like I took cultural studies with Nick, who before I took it, I had a hostie, like the first section of that, the part 1 of that whole thing. That was like very technical, whereas Nick's was more like philosophical. Yeah.
Nick Lay?
Poss.
Oh, Nick Poss.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Cool dude. Love him. And like I would get in trouble. Well, I wasn't in trouble, but he'd be like, oh, like super specific genre, right on. And because like I said, I grew up having friends, so I like delved deep in the deep end. And so I'd be like, oh no, that's experimental noise work from 1980s in the German krautrock era of blah, blah, blah. And he'd be like, oh, wow. But I don't know. I don't think they're necessary. So like with any label, I identify as queer. So that's like the broadest you can get with the definition of queer. There's a reason I like it, because it's so broad that it says I'm not
conventional.
Yeah, I'm not conventional. I'm not trying to be edgy or anything. Like no one, whatever, you know. I'm not this conventional idea of what you were told. There's more to me that I may not even know yet, but here's the notion that it is, and that's powerful to me. Genres are the same way for me. It's like they're supposed to be like kind of like a guide, not... They can be specific if you want to do that, but I don't think it's necessary at this point just because there's so much music, there's so much overlap, and like what's the point? In a way, they can keep you from finding good music. Like I'm not a huge country person, but having the label of country would automatically just turn me off. But like the more you think about it, you're like, well, there's experimental country music or like country pop or like country whatever.
Right. And you're kind of blocking yourself off from like, there's some really good songs in country that are classified as country that you might even be like, this is more bluesy, but...
so like there's a couple of artists that come to mind. It's like, do you know Peaches?
I don't.
Or Peaches. Oh, man. So Peaches is a queer pop artist. They're pop, but like if we were to get technical, I would say they're pop if Trent Reznor went pop, which is interesting. Yeah. And it's really because they use a lot of like the glitchy stuff that he does and like the drum machine stuff. And that's awesome. If you had just told me a queer pop, I'd have been like, queer, I can get behind that. Pop, I've heard enough pop, you know? But then, like, if you were telling me the specific, blah, 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 then I'm like, okay. So, yeah, it's kind of like a weird thing.
Yeah.
And then my favorite band, Wand, started off as stoner metal, like doing just like noise stuff with it. And they have moved from like that to like a more Velvet Underground, this heat, quote unquote, art rock experimental stuff. And everyone's been kind of like pissed about it because they're like, this is not psych rock anymore. And it's like, why confine yourself to a label about it? There's so much good stuff out there. And even if you don't think you will like it, spend some time with it, you know? Even if it's just skimming.
We've listed off a lot of like band names and stuff, but what's something on the classical side that you still really love? Like what's a piano piece that you like always go back to and be like, this is still.
Yeah. So my hair is purple. So I feel like this is a pretty obvious like hint of like my favorite era. The impressionistic era and all that stuff, like Debussy, Chopin. My heart. He was an angsty guy, and like me too, you know, me too. I played his Nocturne in F minor poorly, but I really love that piece, and like really all his nocturnes are really great. So like I just anything that has like open chords and like bell sounds, and Ravel has a song called, I'm not going to say it in French because I don't speak French, but it's called The Valley of the Clocks. And it's like it starts with like a little ding in the higher octaves and it just goes ding, ding, ding with an octave. And then it goes into like this arpeggiated ding and it's just so beautiful. And there's like big chords in it. But I also really love Russian composers. Is Tchaikovsky Russian?
Tchaikovsky.
Yeah. Okay.
Russian.
I thought so. I just want to make sure. And like him, Shostakovich, Rachmaninoff, I love that stuff. Stravinsky too, his Firebird suite is. I said Fireball one time, and I was like, "That's the wrong thing." The Firebird suite was like super influential for me. But yeah, like I think I just really like extremities, and like so it's like either really beautiful and like super flowery, or like super abrasive and angry and tear down this communist wall, you know. So I love that stuff.
Stravinsky.
Yeah, same person. We're the same person. But yeah. Rachmaninoff too. I played. I think it's C sharp minor. It's like the most popular one, where he starts out with like big bombastic chords. I have small hands. He had a muscle disease that like caused him to have big hands. So I had a hard time playing his music, but he was just like, because of that just little thing about him, his music turned out to be this gorgeous thing, and also very angsty, which same.
Right. I try and limit piano stuff that I write to an octave. Because I know people can reach more than an octave. But I don't want
not me.
to.
Yeah. Well, do you? I don't know if you're familiar with this concept. I don't know how far a piano player you are. Or like so like with Rachmaninoff, you would hit the roots of the chord. So like sometimes he'd do like a fifth in the bottom and then add more because he could. So you'd play the fifth and then you just roll it to the next one. And then there is debate on how long you should like hit that bell chord. I don't think that's what it would be called, but like the bottom chord and then the rest, you know.
Right.
Some people like roll it and some people just like bum or whatever.
Yeah, but unlike Rachmaninoff, I try not to give people like impossible
6
things.
6 foot plus. Yeah, he's very tall.
Switching gears.
I sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't.
There's no good way to transition into it, so
that's okay.
Here we are. What is the role of spirituality or religion in your life?
Oh, now we're getting to this part. So I've had an interesting relationship with all of that stuff because I grew up. Let me know if this was you too. I grew up very Catholic, in a very Catholic family. My mom, my grandma on my mom's side was like heavily Catholic, like, and she still is. She goes to church every day. There's like rosaries and Jesus on la Cruz everywhere, you know. And then like her name is Guadalupe, and my middle name is Guadalupe, which I was named after her, which is like so brown and so Catholic.
Yeah.
So I always have like the Catholic. There's always been like some Catholicism, but my mom, she grew up so strictly Catholic that I kind of like traumatized her, and she was like, I don't want to raise my kids that way. Like so much so to the point where like she got kicked out for becoming pregnant with my older brother before she was married. Like that's how strictly Catholic they were. And she was like, I'm not doing that to you guys. So we were loosely Catholic growing up. But there is so much, specifically with Catholicism, because as I've gotten older, I understand the divisions of Christianity and Catholicism and all that stuff. I was always kind of jealous of the Christian kids because they would get candy at their like Catholic Sunday school, and then we would just like sit there and like they would tell us, "Oh, if you do this, you will burn in hell." So that was really traumatizing growing up. And so I did my first communion not knowing why, which like still bothers me a lot. So I did all of that stuff, and it felt a lot for show because, like, you buy the white dress and you do all that stuff. It feels silly now. If you are into that, that's cool. For me, it just doesn't make sense for me to do it. But I grew up loosely Catholic, still doing Catholic things. But as I gotten older, it's been more difficult for me to relate to anything that is of church. Especially as a queer person, there's so much that the Bible doesn't talk about that people have interpreted as being applicable that I don't agree with. So it's been like very kind of traumatizing and not like super traumatizing, but still like enough for me to feel uncomfortable in church and like not talk about my own identities in the church setting, which I feel like you should be able to do that in church, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I'm more spiritual than I am like, I guess religious would be the term for it, in that I pray, but I don't pray. Like I was a psych major for a while. Fun fact. And so like I understand how like the power of thought and like all that stuff manifests itself. And I was watching an interview about Jack White, who was going to go to ministry school, I think is the term. I don't actually know.
Seminary?
Yes. Fake Catholic. But he also grew up like Irish Catholic. And so like that's pretty strict. Yeah. And he was giving a new interview. As he's gotten older, he's gone away from the idea of like a God and more of like, he was talking about an article he read about like when you scream angrily in the air, the particles move differently than like, obviously if you don't, but like even they can get very like how we would describe frustrated as like, molecules. And I've always thought that was really interesting just because like, and so to me, prayer is in a form that, like you give out good, in the simplest way, you give out good thoughts, vibes, wishes. It eventually manifests itself. And so prayer is like one way to get all that, like, I guess karma in a way. I've been very fortunate that like, and this may be like a faulty Catholic guilt thing. My family never knew me growing up. They just like, they knew I was my mom's daughter. And so they wanted the best for me and they would always like pray for me and stuff like that. And to me, I feel like I have had a good life because of all those prayers. So I would like to give back in that way. And so, but there's a punk part of me, which is like super edgy. That's like, I don't want to believe because I will quote unquote give into the idea that you have, in order to be a good person, you have to be religious, or in order to be happy or fulfilled, you have to believe in a God. So I've been resistant in that way. But I also like, I have had too many good things happen in my life I went country in my life to deny that there's something. I just don't know what it is, and maybe we're not meant to, and maybe we just don't have the capacity to, which I'm okay with. But all that to say is I also play in a worship band at a non-denominational church, but it's also like my worship pastor is like has been very open with me about his walk, quote unquote, walk with life. And I have a friend named Grace who is very Christian, and I've talked to her about this because I was like, I do want to believe in a God, just things aren't making sense to me and I don't understand. And she's been very patient, and we both have the idea of like, as long as you are doing things with the intent of being good and you're asking, is this okay? Is this not okay? Then you are doing good. And I identified as I think it's deist. Yeah, a deist for a really long time. Because to me, the concept of a heaven or hell just doesn't make sense. And the concept of someone like physically dying on a cross is weird to me. And also the notion that you have to surrender yourself is very weird to me. And like, I have like, as a brown queer kid, I have like a lot of like back and forth of like positions of power and like surrender and stuff. And like, to me, that's just another thing. And it angers me, which is super like edgy, Stephanie, that Christ is a god, or no, that Christ was a dude. I'm like, but Grace was talking to me about that the reason that Christ is a dude was because at the time men saw males as like, you know, like on the hierarchy of like power and like importance, men. So he took the form of a dude to be taken seriously. But that even still bothers me. But yeah, that didn't answer your question.
No.
But yeah, I just like, I want to so desperately. And I even told my worship pastor, because I'm pretty open about this, just because I think if you're not questioning and if you're not talking about it, then that's not healthy. Yeah. You should really talk about it, and you should also question, because like the notion that there's a superior being maybe controlling everything and like dictating who is good and who is bad, and like what creations he made are good and bad is weird to me. Like, that's bonkers. But that's part of the faith, and that's why it's called faith. But I think just questioning and talking about it, and my worship pastor is very much of that notion, which is, I think, why I stayed, is because I am curious to like understand, and I do want to understand, and I do want to believe. But I think my quote unquote walk with life is I feel uncomfortable surrendering to a God. I feel more comfortable saying that I walk with a God, which sounds also like saying it back sounds like, you know, voodoo. But it's, you know, I think it's just all one way we can make sense of the world. And I was Buddhist for a really long time too. So that's like where I get like a lot of the, the afterlife thing doesn't make sense to me. And also just like being a good person, you know, like, it's not that hard, but, you know, apparently it is. I don't know. But, yeah, it's just been, like, a clusterfuck of, like, what's happening. And, like, I took an Intro to Religion study class at OU as a concurrent student, and my stomach's about to rumble. Sorry if you hear it.
Yeah, fine.
And, like, I am hesitant also of Christianity. There's many reasons, as I've stated. But this one is really, like, the Western idea of Christianity is the ultimate being. If you don't believe in the God that we believe in, then, like, you know, you're going to hell. So it's like it ignores Hinduism, it ignores Judaism, all this stuff. And it's just like that makes me incredibly uncomfortable, because if there is a God and one of those ways is the only right way, then I'm uncomfortable with that. And I don't know if I want to believe in a God that way, or if that is the God that is the God, then I don't want to be with him. Which is like super blasphemous to say, but like, you know, a God should be all encompassing and all, you know, accepting, and like, I don't know. And to me, it was always like, if he's very strict and like blah blah blah, you did this at this time and you can't get into heaven, or you don't repent enough, or you sin too much or whatever, then like, instead of like, what's the word? Like, not even negotiating, but just kind of like understanding things. And I don't know. I felt like that was a cooler God, in my opinion. And I hope he has a sense of humor, because I've made some jokes, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I repent for that sin. But I hope he does have a sense of humor, because I think when I tell people my relationship to whatever this being is it should be a vehicle to be a better person and to have an easier time navigating this crazy thing we called life. And if it's not doing that, then like, what's the point? So I'm very like joking, and I'm very honest with whatever that being is. and I do communicate with it. But I'm also like, I thought I was pagan for a while because I have like this tendency to like predict. This is super hoodoo voodoo and like predict things before they happen, and they usually do happen, which is super weird. And I have a friend who's a witch, and he was like, "Let me train you," and I was like, Catholic guilt. I was like, "No, I will burn in hell for being pagan." So I didn't do that, but I think it's still interesting, and like I just always felt this. Some things out there. I just felt I've always felt a strong connection to it. Don't know what that thing is. Don't know how I'll navigate it, but we're just taking it day by day.
Yeah. Well.
There was a very long way to say I don't know. I think it's just another way to cope too. Yeah. You know.
Well, that answers what was going to be my next question, which is what is your definition of God, which you went over.
It's something.
Though the next one after that is a little bit harder.
Hurdles ahead.
But do you believe in free will, or is free will an illusion?
My worship pastor was telling me about this, and this is something I'm still like. I don't like the word struggle because it's not a struggle. I think it's just a way of like understanding life, or one lens to understand life, or like one piece of the cake. I do believe in free will. In that, like, have you read Borges, or do you know Borges? Jorge Luis Borges? He talks a lot about free will, and he uses, like, labyrinth metaphors and, like, maze metaphors, and he uses the library as a metaphor very often. And I think there are options, and then it's up to you to take up that option. And there's not always, like, a right or wrong way. There's just, like, there's obviously, like, wrong ones. Like, I have the option to kill you right now if I want to, but I'm not going to do that because that's awful. And I cannot live with myself.
You try.
I can't kill spiders, let alone a human being. But, yeah, like, you have options, and then, like, it's up to you to choose an option, really. But I don't know. I think this is because he asked me, if that's the case, do you believe in miracles? And I was like, I don't know. I think they can be possible, but, like, why do some miracles happen to some people and some don't, you know? Why do some people work so hard and still have it really well, I can answer some of that. But, like, still have, like, a hard time and stuff. It's just, like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? Because I've heard parts of your opinion because of, you know, your podcast.
We can do that on the next one.
Right on.
This one's about you.
Oh, no. Fun story. I hate talking about myself. So when you were like, do you want to be on the podcast? I was like, sure.
It's fine. You're doing great.
Right on.
How do you determine what good behavior is?
Well, that's a good question. Good question. I trust my moral compass, which is like, I feel like it's a cop-out statement. But I think in order for you to do good, communicate, because good looks different for everyone. And there's, like, different layers of good, like, you know, everything. There's different levels. I just think communicating and saying and asking, really, and just following your gut. And also just, like, trying to be productive and nice. With respecting your boundaries. Which is, like, another cop-out way of saying, I don't know. It really just depends. I've been fortunate that my parents gave me a good moral compass, and they have a great moral compass, and they give so much more than they probably should. And that was always a huge model for me. And my dad has this, like, my philosophy of, like, if you're not 100% for something, and if you're not going to do it right, then don't do it. Because I'm like, what's the point? But I don't know. Because, like, go ahead.
Well, speaking of your parents and getting a little bit into the cultural tropes.
I probably just popped your thing. I am so excited to talk about being brown with a brown person.
But, like, so you identify as queer, and you have a lot of people in your circles that are strange people, but Hispanic culture has a tendency of
definitely
pushing that down or pushing it away. So how has your culture, how have your parents sort of instilled that in you, and how do you, like, you sort of exude the opposite of that.
Yeah. Fun story. I'm not out to my family. It's just like I have the privilege of being safe with my family regardless of what I come out as. If I ever do come out. I am safe. Like I have like, you know, like there's levels of like safetiness. I have my basic, like I will not be kicked out. I will still receive the same amount of love. It'll just be like, it'll be kind of awkward for them to like, you know, for their quote unquote daughter, which I also, this is new. I don't really identify as a female that strongly. And so like for their quote unquote daughter to, you know, like they have this idea of like, I'll get married to a dude and we'll walk down the aisle or like they'll have babies and stuff like that. I'm like, none of that is like of interest to me. But yeah, it's been hard, which is like music was an outlet for that.
Yeah.
And it was the only thing that made sense in addition to like all the other artwork stuff that I was working, I was, what's the word?
Yeah.
Consuming. But it's been really hard. It's been very hard, especially like being a first gen going to college. The education thing is something like they give me crap about. Like, oh, now that you're educated, you're too good for us. I'm like, that's not true.
Also, you encouraged this.
Oh yeah, I'm like you told me to do that. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so it's like I think they didn't understand like what I was going into because like I work and I go to school and I'm like I'm only home to sleep. And then when I am home, like I'm expected to do the dishes and clean, but it's like when I'm home, I'm doing homework or I'm sleeping. But it's been, like I keep saying it's been hard just because it's like I grew up with brothers too. So like the notion of like sexism was like kind of eye rolling to them. And then the idea that like when they would say things that were like very hetero, I was like, well, actually, or yeah, it's just been like I butt heads a lot with my family. I don't really speak to my extended family just because they're not my cup of tea.
Right.
And they don't understand a lot of like because of education. I was reading bell hooks when I was in high school. I was reading Angela Davis when I was in high school. I was reading all these like feminist literature and like philosophical stuff, and that was encouraged through education, and a lot of them didn't even graduate high school. So like there's that barrier of education. Yeah. And then trying to get them to understand that like not everything is female or male, or that like women can play with or like girls can play with car toys, and you know, like men can wear a dress. It's just stuff like that. It's just been really butting heads. And like also like the aspect of like I don't know how familiar you are with like LGBTQIA identities and labels, but like some people are asexual, some people are aromantic, and like not everyone wants to date, and not everyone wants to marry, not everyone wants kids. But it's just been rough, and I wish I had an answer to like other brown queer kids, but a lot of it I think just comes down to finding people that support and validate you and encourage you to continue searching for your identities. That has been great for me. Yeah. The internet's a great resource for that. Just finding safe people. And sometimes those safe people aren't your favorite people. They're just safe. Yeah. But like as you get older, you'll find people you enjoy that are also safe. And then just staying true to who you are. And then this is kind of where I feel uncomfortable giving advice because I have the safety net of like safety. But if you're unsafe, then I don't know what to do in that situation. I would encourage you to like internet that stuff because I have that privilege. But yeah, it's just been hard, and there's been a lot of like teasing about it in the family of like, oh, you're not straight because it's cool to not be straight, and it's like actually no, that's not how it works. And it's like, oh, you're not like identifying as female anymore because it's trendy to use they or whatever. Or like I've also heard, oh, they's not like a thing or whatever. But it's just like, oh,
Yeah. Would you rather go by they?
Oh, fun. Hi, this is the first time. Yeah, first time talking about it. So this is kind of where like I'm doing a disservice to myself, and that I don't mind she. But I would prefer they. I don't mind she though, just because like I do present as a more feminine female.
Sure.
But I just like don't identify with the culture behind it, and that's kind of why I decided I think they.
Right.
But I don't mind she. But if I do correct you, fuck off. Please use it. I'm just kidding. Please use it. But it's right now I mostly chose that just for myself because for me there was like dissonance of like there's this concept of dysphoria. For me it was not really. There was body dysphoria, but like not in the way that I've heard trans people talk about it. But it was more like social dysphoria, where it's like I can't relate to these girls, and I definitely can't relate to these dudes. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know.
Sure.
And giving myself, that's been really new. Giving myself permission to like explore and maybe be wrong, and not even be wrong, just like finding the words to explain the things.
Just finding what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, because
Right. Well, this culture thing is new.
Yeah.
New-ish.
Go ahead. I wanted to thank you for creating that safe space because I feel very comfortable like just talking about that with you. And like,
of course.
I mean, I don't know if you identify with like queer on any level, but just like you make it very easy to talk about it and very safe to do so. So thank you for being a great ally / advocate.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was getting to say is that since this thing is kind of new and there's a lot of like awkwardness or anxiety around
definitely.
it.
Lots of it.
Even the people sort of in the queer group.
Yeah.
Like put a lot of weight behind it, but I think it's easier if we just make it as simple as, hey, like, call me they.
So that's kind of my thing is mostly out of fear and like I have this really bad thing of like I'll think of something, I'm like, no, that's a stupid idea. Everyone's going to think it's stupid. They're going to make fun of me. They're going to think I'm this or that. But as that's something you continuously work on. One method is therapy, and that helped me a lot. And a lot of it was just like I'm too much of a weenie to be like, hey, so I am this, and this, and this, and this, and this. I kind of just like share a post about someone with the same identity, and I'm like, yeah, this,
right,
whatever. And that's kind of how so people are either like she or they, which is like not using she for me has been interesting too. But like Stephanie's a great ally, but it's actually like, actually I'm queer too. But yeah, I like the mystery that it keeps behind it too.
Yeah.
Which is edgy.
Right.
But it's just an easier way for me to like come out that way. And if people if people understand it, so funny story, this is also something I've not directly talked about, but I've like hinted at is I identify as being gray ace. I've got all the weird labels. It's great. Do you know what that is? So asexual just means like without sexual attraction. So, or like there's like a spectrum of it. So it's like, I don't know what the allo experience is, but like I've heard it like you find someone, you find them sexually attractive, you want to engage in sex. Does not ring a bell, completely goes over my head. Never a thought of mine that happens, or very rarely. So I was talking to my therapist about it. I was like, this is terrible. And then I was like, but then like the next day I was like, oh, this is great. I feel great. And so I, in that like 2 seconds of like, this is great, I bought an ace button. And I was like, I bought it. I wore it, and then I walked into my therapy session. I was like, I've made a mistake. People are going to know, and I'm not sure if I'm ready. But she gave me the idea of, like, if people see it and they know what they are, they're probably a very small number of people are going to be like, right on.
Sure.
But, like, most people are like, why is there a purple and black heart on you? It's cute. It matches your hair. And I'm like, right on. So, yeah, it's just kind of like, a thing.
Yeah. And that's the...
one way to come out.
Right.
Like
well,
it's like I have friends who came out on Facebook, and I was like, that's too anxious.
It's hard enough. It's hard enough for you to deal with it.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
For
definitely.
other people to make it as big a deal.
Yeah.
Like, it's it can be as simple as just like.
Yeah, definitely.
This is how it works. All right, cool.
Comes
thanks.
out on Santiago's podcast. I'm subtle, actually. No. Yeah.
I don't know how many people listen to this. So it's like
just me. It's actually just me. I just
0. It could be
right on.
as high as 500. I don't know.
5,000. The whole world.
I don't know if it's in the thousands.
It's okay. Yeah. I mean, I've always been really open about it if someone asked me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a big deal to me. But now it's like I'm open for people to be like, at 4 minutes and 53 seconds, you said you were this, this, and this. So if you want to pull that receipt out, that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, right. I totally agree that I wish it was that it was more common for that space to be held of like one day you're like, I'm going to use she because that's what I feel today. And the next day you're like, actually, I feel he today.
Like,
then just like, cool. Okay, I'll use he today. But like, and there's a lot of, I'm part of a lot of queer forums because like there's a lot of support in that and a lot of knowledge. And that's like also where I found out about like, oh, like there's other things and I relate to these things a lot more than like straight cis girl. But I forgot where I was going with this. What were we talking about?
Well, just making it comfortable.
You're right. So a lot of it's just like giving people that space because it's not about using a wrong identity. It's about getting affirmations to find ones that best describe yours.
Sure.
Because you weren't wrong at the time. I wasn't wrong for using she. I just didn't know, But yeah, just like I wish there's a lot of internalized of like, I can't use, especially specifically with non-binary because we are so socialized to be like he, she, girl, dresses, boy, cars, and stuff like that. But to challenge that idea is so like, it's honestly very revolutionary right now. But there's a lot of non-binary and even asexual people will talk about how like they have a lot of internalized aphobia or not transphobia inside of them that because the outer world is filtering that they aren't real because they is not a thing. It's just like a hip thing the millennials are using. It's, whatever. And there's a lot of people who will not come out for that reason. I think I was under that too because I know certain people, if they ever listen to this or if I ever talk to them about it, they'll be like, oh, so you're using they because it's cool and you want to be edgy and different. And it's like, sure. Why not? I love to make things more complicated for people in my...
The base thing
gosh,
is just treating people with respect.
Yeah.
So this is the example I always use, which is humorous. But like...
I love humor.
If someone says, like, this is my name, okay, I'm not going to call you bitch. I'm going to call you your name.
That is funny. Yeah.
And, like, if I'm going to treat you with respect, I won't call you bitch.
Yeah, and, like...
I'll call you your name.
Yeah.
And so it's just treating people with respect with whatever it is that they want.
Yeah.
They think... If you... Hey, I knew a guy in high school named Crazy. So, like...
Oh, like, actual legal name?
No, it wasn't his name, but, like, his nickname became Crazy. And, like, his name was just Crazy. I was like, okay, cool.
Right on.
But like, and it wasn't a problem. And even like our band director started calling him Crazy.
That's weird.
So it's like, it stuck.
Yeah.
And so that's just a thing. It's like, oh, I go by Crazy. Cool.
Right on.
That's a way of treating you with respect. And sometimes it's like weird. It's like, oh, Alex. It's like, Alex, who the hell's Alex? Like, oh, Crazy? Yeah, Crazy. Like, yeah.
Right on, yeah.
So treat people with respect.
Definitely. I mean, like, I even I still slip up with people's pronouns. And I think a lot of it just comes down to, like, oh, hey, sorry, I messed up.
What we're used to.
We're so socialized. Like I said, we're so socialized. He, she. So, I mean, I won't be super angry if someone uses she if I tell them, oh, I use she, but, like, reality this, but, do whatever you want with it. But because I don't hate she.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
I don't hate she.
Yeah.
I don't hate her. I don't hate she. She doesn't even go here.
So that goes
I crewed up your podcast.
Right. It goes into politics.
Yeah, which sucks.
And so
my existence is political. That was edgy. But there's truth. There's truth behind it. Your existence isn't political. It just so happens that politics likes fighting about this. Yeah. So, like, in the scope of how the world is working right now, my existence is political. But in an ideal world, it wouldn't be, politics.
But it's not political. Politics is involved.
So, funny story. I was talking about Borges. earlier, I love Borges so much. I think he's probably one of like top 5 favorite authors. He has a lot of circular metaphors in all of his stuff. So like in his category, there's like a bunch of circles and stuff like that. And something I talked about a lot in therapy was that circle of like, which is just like a symbolism of like overlap. And there's like overlap of like being queer and like being anxious of religion because religion is in politics and politics bleeds into religion and all of that like governs queer identities. And so it's all connected.
Exactly. So I guess just lightly getting into it so that we can get into more conversational rather than me just asking you questions. How do we reduce the divide?
You're asking the wrong person. So I talked about this in therapy too, because so this is kind of related. I don't identify with queer culture at all, because it's very hypersexualized and very like gay men, white cis gay men being like yes and all that stuff, and I don't relate to that. But there's also like this like and one method of coping with trauma, especially in relation to like queer stuff, is a pendulum. So like on the pendulum, you're on one end of it, which is like you're closeted because you're unsafe. Once you move out, you're completely to the other side of the pendulum. So you're dyeing your hair rainbow colors and you're doing all this stuff. And that's all valid. I just don't relate to that experience. And I don't agree with it on my journey of being a queer person. So there's like that huge divide. And I know there's people who relate to me who are like super like critical. And I understand like their criticisms are supposed to be for ways to move forward. Sometimes they can be cynical. But there's like this huge divide in the queer community of like that stuff. But for me, the divide is respecting other people's experiences. And a huge part of it is educating yourself on like whatever the divide is on and understanding that like there's different truths to them. And you may only see one truth to them. So, I think that's one way. That doesn't really answer it. I wish I could say you pull out a pitchfork and kill everyone who doesn't agree with you. I was told that was not okay.
4 more questions.
Right on.
What are you optimistic about?
I'm blasting through this. Oh my God, look at me. Give me an A, Santiago.
What are you optimistic about in our future?
Oh man, I'm optimistic about so much. I say as I cry every day. I don't know. There's just like, I think as I've gotten older, I grew up very like not optimistic. I wasn't pessimistic, but I was very like, there's just like nothing. There's like very hollow, so there's just like nothing to me. But as I've gotten older, I'm just optimistic and meeting new people. And one of my favorite things about like the world is education, not limited to like university and like schooling. But the notion that we have access to library, we have access to the internet, we have access to communication with people we wouldn't have. And that's so exciting to me because it means more knowledge, understanding how the world works better because you see more perspectives of other people and you begin to understand like, oh, this is why this person was acting this way, or like, oh, this is why this is this. Oh, this thing that we were told was supposed to be set in stone is actually just a white dude saying this. And like, there's more to it. That makes me really excited because we can start tearing down the system. Punk rock. But, and also like, I understand synths better, and that makes me really excited because like, it's like a curve. It's like when you learn Pro Tools, you're like, I'm never going to learn Pro Tools. But then you hit that curve and you're like, oh, this can sort of apply to other DAWs and to a base level. So also that people like Santiago exist. I'm mooching. People are becoming nicer and a lot nicer than I would argue they were before. And we have access to like I'm like, oh, the argument of like, oh, you're using they because it's trending now is rooted in the notion that we just didn't have education about it before and that we weren't listening to other people talk about it.
Sure.
So I like the idea of like we can hear, which like it's very overwhelming. I'm not going to sit here and say this is great because it's super overwhelming and it's scary, but just taking it with a grain of salt and
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes you happy?
My dogs. My dogs currently. I've come across some really awesome people lately that have been like super awesome. Yeah, chocolate and coffee. I love chocolate and I love coffee. Yeah, people who are nice, who are respectful and like willing to learn things and be patient with you. People who are patient. I love people who are patient. That's such an underrated feature to have as a person, is like patience and like just also music. Of course, music and art. But like music and art, there's that quote that's like, art imitates life, and it's like, you know, it's a meme, but like, art and music. Well, music is a form of art, but like art in general just reflects our experiences as people, and that's cool. Because I didn't have the same experience as Borges, but he's super cool. I think it's awesome. So.
What advice do you have for people?
I don't. I don't, because I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse at this point. It's just like, to educate yourself and ask questions and to say it's okay to not understand or not know something. Yeah. Because, I mean, we are limited as humans. We're not like all knowing and all capable of doing everything. Sure. So just like, I guess just being honest and humble and open about your struggles is like my main thing. Like do you know who Brene Brown is?
I don't.
She's like a leading psychologist and social scientist she specializes in like vulnerability and like authenticity and being honest. And she's like, her big thing is like being honest and open and guilt-free about struggles, because we all share struggles and we can always like provide something helpful to someone. And it's just like, we're all suffering, so might as well just talk about it.
What was that name again?
Brene Brown.
Okay.
She's got books out. I think it's called The Art of Vulnerability. You would really like that. It's basically just saying, I don't know shit. Yeah. And she's like, no one knows shit. And I'm like, that's so true. Yeah. We're all just kind of like winging it. And then she's got another one that I can't remember that's really good. But she's like, I like all of her stuff.
Yeah. And lastly, cake or pie?
I don't like sweets, so usually pie.
Okay.
Pumpkin pie, because I really like umami stuff. So like, pumpkin pie is where it's at. And sweet potato pie. What do you like?
I'm more pie.
Right on. Maybe it's a brown people thing. That was a joke.
I don't know.
That was a joke.
Stephanie, thank you for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for being great. And also, like, I threw curveballs at you.
That's fine.
It's fine.
It's part of the experience.
It's just true.
Where
when
can
you
we
have
find
Stephanie?
Where can we find you and your things?
Oh no!
Pull your stuff.
You can find me shitposting on Facebook. Just on my account. It's just my name. Dire Gnome is Dire Gnome, Dire. Gnome as in a garden gnome, Gnome. I think we're Dire Gnome Band on Facebook. Same thing on Instagram. And then my Instagram is human, HUMANN, 2 N's, _fly, FLY. You can find me shitposting and complaining on there. And I'm on Twitter. But my Twitter is really sad and awkward and just bad. But if you want to follow it, it's swamp, 2_thing_. Lots of underscores. But yeah. I shitpost a lot on there. Fair warning. But yeah.
And then where can we find your podcast?
Thank you. I always forget. It's so new. Color. I don't know Actually, I don't know.
I think your Instagram handle is Color Me and Podcast.
Yeah, it's Color Me and Podcast on Instagram. I don't have a Facebook because I don't want to put the effort in for that.
That's fine.
Oops. But my Instagram has a link to my main blog, which is where I host the podcasts, and then I am supposed to hear back today or tomorrow from iTunes and like Spotify and everything to see if it's appropriate for their site.
Yeah. Spotify never got back to me.
What? Spotify?
So
okay.
I might have to try again.
Do it, yeah.
But iTunes should be really easy.
I hope so, because I was like, But yeah, that you can find me on there. And you can find me playing synth with Chameleon Factory here and there. Yeah. I don't actually know the Facebook handle for that. I think it's like Sonic Abuser / Sonic Abuser with Jackson. And then you can just find me screaming and tripping all over ACM because I do that apparently. Yeah.
Awesome. once again, thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm Santiago Ramones.
And I'm Stephanie Peñate.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music. You can download.
Good music.
You can download or pay for my demo, Songs with Words. And you can listen to and comment and rate and do all of the things that include interacting with the thing for the podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Google Play, on YouTube, or directly on my website, santiagoramones.com.
Is Song with Words a reference to Song Without Words by Mendelssohn?
No, it's just
interesting.
Since I have like ambient music on my SoundCloud and I have like composery stuff, I also am a songwriter.
Right.
And so
composer and songwriter.
To sort of like distinguish like, hey, I do this thing, but I also do this thing. These are songs with words.
Gotcha. Right on.
Yeah.
Making it easy for the consumers to find your things. Smart. Sorry, I cut you off.
You're fine. I always end my podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those three things are: love never fails. It's going to be okay. I might be wrong.
Right on.